The people who battle the effects of addiction day in and day out have a unique insight into the things that work, unique challenges, and what to expect for those new to addiction recovery, whether the addict is themselves or a loved one. Frontlines tells their story.
My name is Ashlea Taylor.
And you're a clinical director at a treatment center, yeah?
Yes, and a licensed marriage and family therapist. I started out working with kids, so
Okay.
I've been in and out of recovery, but I haven't hit it hard like I'm hitting it right now.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's this, like the first instinct is this expression or like physical expression or verbal expression of disgust. You know what I mean? And then when you ask, whoa, what's that about? It's, why would anybody ever do that? Whether it's work in addiction or become an addict. For me, that seems to be like the expression. And for me, I'm just kind of like, why would anybody do what? You know what I mean? Why do you drink 3 or 4, cups of coffee a day? Why do you eat donuts in the morning every day? What's the difference? Yeah, everything's a choice, but your body is motivated by whatever you're doing because our brain is a pattern-seeking organism. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's usually what I get. But then when I get the opportunity to break it down, I mean, you give me like 2 or 3 minutes with somebody, and their thought process about it is completely different.
Do you find that people are typically open when you start explaining the science behind why something is happening?
Oh, yeah. I mean, because I usually take a one-down approach and ask more questions versus judgment. And then through asking questions, I can ask my own questions, and of course, they're leading questions. I'm a therapist. That's what we do. So you know what I mean. So by the end of it, it makes complete sense to people. So overall, it's pretty much create the therapeutic information and the routine of the clients on a daily basis. So along with the operations director, basically planning the client's day. Now when they actually get to the center, however, we're going to begin to hit whatever triggered their addiction, started their addiction, whatever emotional problems they're having, just basically all around the client's need. That's my job.
Okay.
So I spend my day sometimes with clients when they're having difficulties, when they're having awesome days. I teach. We do what's called super groups, so we'll bring like all 40 to 45 of the clients together and we'll do a series. Like we just got done with a series called Rooted in Identity. And so we take that through a 3-week period, and I usually start it off and then have the other therapists finish it. I do anything from communicating and networking with the hospitals if we have to send a client to the hospital because they're seriously mentally ill. I work with our psychiatric nurse practitioner and talk to her about our clients who are in addiction and need to also understand what medication does in the conjunction with addiction. So I do a lot of psychoeducation with her. I do a lot of treatment planning with her. Then I meet with a therapist, help them kind of figure out their treatment plans, which we tailor for all the clients. Attend meetings, meet with all the case managers. I do a little bit of the billing stuff. Whatever is needed to help the client meet their end goal, which is being in sobriety and being in recovery. That's pretty much what we do and what I do all day. All the time. Everywhere I am, I'm getting ideas about, so for example, I might have a client, or we like to call them family. So I might have a family member who, we see that she's packing on more and more makeup the more therapy she does, which means she's feeling all that emotional negativeness, and so she's packing on more makeup to do so. So like I'm out and about, and I'm at the mall, and it hits me like, oh my God, that's why she's packing on makeup, because she can't express her feelings, So then I'm like, what do I need to do to make her feel not targeted, but to make her understand that less makeup is okay? You know what I mean? And this is when I'm like walking through the mall at MAC. You know what I mean? So honestly, it's like a 24-hour thing, but it's my love. I like it. I'd say we probably tailor or change somebody's treatment plan at least once a week. Because they could be sitting in art the first week and doing a project, and it doesn't elicit any emotional emotional trigger, or it doesn't elicit any physical trigger. And then 2 weeks later, because they just sat through trauma, and trauma talks about, you know, the neuroscience regarding addiction, and now they're sitting in art, and the art project is regarding like do something that has something to do with your family, and now this person is having a panic attack because their body has been in what we call fight, flight, or freeze mode this whole entire time until for some reason they're sitting in art, and now we're having this emotional response. So at that point, I would take them, I explain the neuroscience behind it, meaning you've numbed your emotions this whole entire time. And basically what happens is when we go through a trauma, the physiological part of your body will automatically shut down every organ that's not needed in order for you to go into survival mode. You know what I mean? It's natural, basic, like animal instinct. And so what happens with a lot of addicts is that can stay shut down for years, but it's still putting stress and trauma and, you know, tenseness on the body. So a lot of times what I see is when a client is acting out or a family member is acting out, it's like their body has awoken, and then we get these physical responses of like, I'm so angry, you know what I mean? I want to punch a wall, but I'm not going to punch a wall. Or they're having panic attacks, or what's another one? Or they're having stomach aches, you know. So then at that point, I sit with them, my staff sits with them, and we're like, okay, what happened? Is art beneficial for you? You know, and I, once again, explain the neuroscience behind art. All of the groups that we do are usually sensory invoking, and sensories take us back to like our childhood brain, which back here it's called the lizard brain, right here it's called the dog brain. The brain starts at the back and builds to the front, and then it starts, you know, from the outside, goes inside, you know? So the reason why people are calmed by sensory invoking things, music, art, sports, you know what I mean? Animals, because the fur, you can touch them, and it also, if you put an animal up to your heart, their heart will beat the same as yours, just like if you were a baby, baby in the womb, or baby being held by its parents. So anything to treat trauma, especially with a coping skill, which a lot of addiction comes from trauma, not all, but a lot. We use sensory invoking things, you know what I mean? So I sit them down and I say, you don't like art right now because it's made you feel really bad, but the reason is because we have awakened your whole entire body with all of your senses, because art, when you're painting, it's that back and forth stroke, you know what I mean? And then they also listen to music in there, so you get the auditory. And then if you're doing clay, your hands are molding, you know what I mean? So I sit there, I explain the neuroscience behind it, because a lot of our family members, a lot of our clients are highly intelligent, you know what I mean? So just putting them in a room and telling them that they need to talk about their feelings doesn't work. So I go and I literally explain the neuroscience behind it, and then it's like, okay. You know what I mean? I'm either willing to do this again, or please put me in more music therapy groups, because I like to rap, I'm a poet. You know what I mean? I like music, I like drums, I'm a guitarist, you know, so then I'm like, fine, we'll put you in more art. But that's pretty much how I do it. So I mean, to sum that up, I like to find out the individual, who you are, what you like, a little bit about your background, because I'm a marriage and family therapist, so I like to tie all that generational patterns together. And then with that, we figure out what's going to meet you best, you know, by the time you leave in 90 days or 45 days or whenever you're going to leave, you know? The biggest challenge is probably time. You know, because you have to make sure that your staff is physically and emotionally healthy all the time, while you're trying to make sure that your clients are physically and emotionally healthy all the time, you know? So time in a day is definitely a hard thing. Yeah, I mean, well, before I got into this field, I've always kind of thought about like human beings in general. We always make mistakes. We're forever growing. So it's one of those things for me personally, and what I tell my therapist is like, what are your expectations? We are human beings before we are addicts, before we are, you know what I mean, whatever other stigmas or whatever other names there are out there. And nobody's going to do everything 100% all the time. We're just not made to do that. So my expectation is that within this 60 days, this 90 days, we're going to pack you with this information. We're going to give you a different routine. And in the midst of it, when clients meet with me, if I can figure out what their trigger is, I poke at it, because I want to see how they're going to do while they're in our environment. and that will tell me a lot about what we need to do, what we need to do less of in order for them to be successful when they leave. Because a lot of the clients, I'm like, it's not about what you do here. If you're just coasting through here and having a good time, I'm worried about you. You should be, we call them man tantrums. You should be having man tantrums. You should be crying. You should be having a panic attack, because then I want to help you recover after that. And I think that's the goal of the whole purpose. A lot of people think you're supposed to do life perfect. No, it's what you do when life isn't perfect. It's what you do when you get knocked down to get back up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my expectations of people before I got into this field were a lot different regarding like, nobody's going to be perfect. We talk a lot about grace.
Okay.
Give your family member grace. They're having a bad day. They just rubbed you the wrong way. Give everybody grace. Give yourself grace. Like, I see that with a lot of people, that they're way harder on themselves and don't want to admit it versus being harder on others. So when you're super hard on yourself like that and you do relapse or you do something wrong, you're more likely to just keep going versus stopping, thinking, taking a deep breath, using a coping skill and being like, I accept what I did. I know what I did. Let me resolve this and move forward. So on the clinical side, our biggest problem is there's different realms of treatment. So you have residential, you have partial hospitalization, which is what we are, which means that the clients come to the center full time, and then they go, somewhere to, sleep home. And then there's IOP, where they only come 3 times a week and have one individual session, and then they go home. And then there's OP, where you come like twice a week, not even an individual session. So insurance companies decide what realm the clients are going to be in,
That's decided on the insurance side, not from the people that are seeing these people on a day-to-day basis.
Exactly. And the insurance companies, unfortunately, have a lot of medical doctors looking at these cases versus therapists, psychiatrists, psychiatric nurse practitioners. And their job on the other side is to give less days. And our job on this side is to try to explain why this person needs more days. And science is behind us in saying that you can't treat addiction, which is a human problem. It is a trauma. It is grieving. It is, you know what I mean? It's way more than just, popping a pill or taking a drink, But to get back on track, so their job is to give the least amount of days. Our job is to explain why they need more days. But an MD who knows about medicine, physical body parts, versus a psychiatrist and a therapist who knows about the emotional side and, granted, the neurological side. You know what I mean? It's very hard. So what happens is it's called utilization review, where basically I have a therapist and then I have a case manager, and they write up a summary on how the client's doing when the insurance company asks for it, and then based on that, the insurance company will say, this person can stay in partial hospitalization, which is 5 days a week, or this person needs to drop down to 3 days a week. Which can be drastic for someone, because your first 15 days in treatment is that adjustment period. I'm a grown adult. You're telling me what to do. I have to get up at 7 a.m. You're telling me when to shop. You're telling me when to sleep, right? Then I'm a grown man. I share a room with somebody who's not my wife, who's not my, you know what I mean? So you go through like that economical and just personal human being part, and then you're blasted with trauma education, and you're riding horses and you're doing art, and you haven't done that in like years. You know what I'm saying? So that's like in the first 15 days. You get to 30 days, they're more relaxed and like, okay, I kind of understand this more. I kind of get why I'm here, And then you get to 45 days, and they're starting to worry about when they leave. So it's one of those things that like insurance companies completely understand this. There's empirical data behind it. And everybody knows how long it takes to forgive the first time, like to really forget, to get over a broken heart, let alone to get over like your parents beating you for 15 years. But it's all about money. Money and liability. So we fight that. Like on the clinical side, we have to do the peer reviews. So a medical doctor from like Cigna will call us and they're usually not nice. They're usually like, give me a reason in less than a minute why we should keep this person, or what are you going to do differently than the other insurance companies have done. However, I'm not going to tell you what the other what the other rehabs have done. Go.
Oh, wow.
And then they'll be like, I wasn't going to give you any extra days anyway. If you want to appeal, call this person.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
So then it's like...
Sounds like a constant battle.
Right. And they don't get to see this person's face
Yeah.
when this person is now like completely committed to the program and to a different lifestyle.
Yeah.
And now we're telling them,
Yeah.
you know, you only have 3 days. It's okay though. We're going to take care of you.